Alright Shove It Squad, you may not be that familiar with the subject of today's video, but it is an incredible story to tell and one that I still can't believe looking back. How on earth did this girl come from complete obscurity to holding positions of power in both the WWE's main rivals? She became a multiple time champion, a company legend, and all of that without having a single match anyone can remember. Oh yeah, the Hawk has been waiting to make this video for a long time. Meet Madison Rayne, possibly one of the greatest female wrestling politicians of all time. Madison started wrestling in the year 2005 as Lexi Lane, racking up titles left, right and centre on the indies. She truly started as she meant to go on. She made her debut with TNA at the start of 2009. It was a debut to forget as she faced the monster Awesome Kong and lost very quickly. Madison turned heel shortly after by slapping her partner Taylor Wilde in a match against the Beautiful People. Madison was determined to join the Mean Girls Beautiful People faction. She kind of took Billy Gunn's place in the group, who was on his way out as Madison came in. She wouldn't be an automatic entry into the group though and would have to endure a hazing to be accepted by Velvet Sky and Angelina Love. The Beautiful People were massive ratings draws in TNA, so Madison getting associated with them was a pretty big deal for her. Her hazing just seemed to consist of her having to cut other girls' hair, so not really a brutal hazing for Madison. The Beautiful People weren't really about wrestling, it was more about character work, and both Angelina Love and Velvet Sky were very strong in this category. Rayne was pretty comparable in the ring to them, but she still lost all of her matches. She was the jobber of the group. Despite that, she was officially inducted into the group after her partner Angelina Love captured the world title. Awesome Kong was out for revenge against the Beautiful People, and Madison had to have a stretcher match against her. She managed literally zero offense and was driven into the mat time and time again. Growing up, I always felt that Madison looked a bit uncomfortable during the Beautiful People's overly sexualised entrance. She never really seemed to know what to do here. Madison eventually screwed up and cost Angelina Love her belt. Velvet and Angelina kicked her out of the group and beat her up and humiliated her on TV for a few weeks. Despite the humiliations, Madison helped them win a match and apologised for being such a jobber. What happened next was extremely fortunate for Madison's career. This moment right here changed everything for her. The entire game was changed due to one little moment. Velvet and Angelina were about to compete for the Knockouts title on pay-per-view, but at the very last minute it turned out Angelina Love had visa issues being a Canadian. So Madison took her place at the pay-per-view whilst Angelina was off telly. She wasn't instantly successful in the ring now, but she did get microphone time. She kinda just picked up where Angelina left off doing the Mean Girl Barbie doll gimmick. She even stole her entrance. They quickly added Lacey Von Erich to the group, seemingly so Madison was no longer the worst member of the team. Hilariously, it took almost an entire calendar year for Madison Rayne to get her first pinfall victory in TNA. It shows that wins and losses didn't really matter as much back then. Nobody seemed to notice or care that Madison had never won a match. It's like the reverse of how you would expect a new wrestler to debut nowadays. She only won thanks to Lacey Von Erich too, an extremely low-key first win, and no one mentioned that it was Madison's first. Despite that win, she continues to lose almost all of her matches. Angelina Love returned and was upset at Velvet for replacing her with Madison Rayne. Angelina beat Madison in a match in about 1 minute and she steals her top. As the Hulkster and Bischoff entered the company, things would dramatically change for Madison Rayne. They must have really liked her, because her booking does a complete 360 at this point. She captured the Knockout Tag titles for her first time in TNA. The feud with Angelina Love led to a pay-per-view match, with Madison and Velvet taking on Angelina Love and Tara, with the Knockouts Tag titles and the Singles title also on the line in the same match. You'd think this high-stakes match would be where we got to see what Madison is really capable of. But no, once again, she only wins the match because of Lacey Von Erich interfering, and she didn't even pin the damn champion. But somehow, Madison is now the first ever person to hold both the Knockouts Tag and World titles at the same time. Tara was getting so frustrated that she couldn't get a belt back that she challenged Madison to a title versus career match. And this begins a short period of time where Madison does a gimmick where she would end wrestlers' careers. So Sacrifice is the first time she had to do a match on her own defending the belt. She gets her ass kicked for the entire match. Tara hits her with multiple finishers but doesn't win the match due to her own incompetence. And it's also here that we get the debut of Madison Rayne's weak ass finisher. Man, the Hawk hates this move so much. It's so slow and awkward to set up and it just feels generic. Madison wins and Tara has to retire. It's just a storyline though, shut up or I'll smack you one. This win gives Madison an incredible ego boost. She is now the career killer. She faces TNA fan favourite Roxy Laveau on the next pay-per-view. Madison hits the sum total of one move, which is her weak ass finish by the way, and just like that, Roxy's out of TNA. Next up on pay-per-view is the Battle of the Beautiful People. All other beautiful people are banned from the ring, and if they interfere, Angelina will get the title via DQ. This is probably Madison's most remembered attire, as to those with poor vision, you can't tell if she's wearing anything. You'd think this match could be okay, as at least they have plenty of backstory, but no, it goes about 4 minutes before there's a DQ finish. And what a DQ finish it was one of the dumbest of all time. A chick with a biker helmet on attacks Angelina Love. Due to the match stipulation, if it was Velvet or Lacey, Madison would get DQ'd and the belt would change hands. But it doesn't matter anyway because the ref DQs her without finding out the true identity of the biker. She gives the title to Angelina Love over a DQ. I won't dump on it too much though because Young Hawk loved this match. But yeah, it sucked and not a single good match in that title reign. The other beautiful people were angry about Madison bringing in the biker chick without their permission. Rayne ends up leaving the beautiful people whilst at the same time cutting a screeching horrible tantrum promo. This is something that Madison will become known for. She also proves that the biker chick isn't one of the beautiful people, so therefore she does have a valid complaint about losing her belt. But come on, she wasn't doing anything good with it. The belt is eventually given back to Madison due to the confusion. Actually, this officially counts as a title change. Give me a break, these title reigns are all horrible. Two-time champion Sonny Siaki's ass. After all of that, she just loses it 2 weeks later to Angelina Love anyway. What a waste of time. She loses her rematch in just 1 minute too, but hey, at least the original beautiful people are reunited. The biker is revealed to be Tara. Ha, TNA swerved you idiot, she wasn't really fired. At least Madison managed to finally shed the beautiful people entrance and get one of her own. I think the Shove It squad are going to be quite fond of this one. Madison meets Velvet on pay-per-view, but she isn't capable of even beating her. She starts dyeing her hair brown here as well, presumably to try and distance herself from the yellow-haired beautiful people. Tara actually wins the Knockouts title next, which really upsets Madison. She had taken her back to TNA and saved her job, and now she had the title that Madison wanted. Yeah, this tag team doesn't last that long. It's been bad so far, but it's about to get worse. Madison and Tara have a Knockouts title match where Madison demands she lays down and lets Madison pin her. And she actually does it. I guess that's why she's called Rayne, because she had such incredible and memorable title reigns. Such as this memorable reign where she didn't even defend the belt for 3 months after winning it. Instead, they went for the tag titles, but they were unsuccessful. This whole thing is bizarre. You got Mickie James, Tara and Velvet Sky, who are all more popular wrestlers, but strangely Madison has the belts and gets multiple long segments on telly. She finally defends the title against Mickie James at Genesis 2011. It's probably Madison's best worked match to this point, but it's still nothing more than average and Madison wins through cheating. She defends successfully against Mickie James again in a last women's standing match. Mickie hit some nice moves in this one, but Madison didn't really do anything and she wins with a loaded glove. How many different gimmicks does this woman want? All of them? Well, how about just one more, because she adopts a sort of queen persona along with her sash. Her music is pretty good and memorable though, although by the end of this video it was giving me PTSD.
She's a killer queen. She'll break your heart, tear it apart, just to watch you scream.
Mickie gets one final pay-per-view match, this time with her haircut on the line. It's in a cage, and Mickie James beats her in about 20 seconds. This very same year, she was officially ranked number 5 of the top 50 female wrestlers in the PWI Female Top 50. What a year 2011 must have been. It just kind of shows you how far women's wrestling has come in the last 15 years. Let that sink in. Madison Rayne was considered a top 5 women's wrestler. Other than being a confident microphone worker, she still hadn't done a whole lot to earn that spot. She is a very solid character, better than most in fact, but this is why I always saw Madison Rayne being the head coach in AEW as a bit of a strange fit. Madison goes on a bit of a losing streak for a while until a wild bitch wife appears. With Karen Jarrett promoted to head of the women's division, Madison was the biggest ass kisser and followed Karen around like a lost puppy. Maybe she'd have spent more time practicing in the ring. With Karen Jarrett on her side, Madison saw somewhat of a resurgence in the win column. They're soon joined by a returning Gail Kim, fresh from the WWE. They would be a gang of the top female heels in the company. Gail pretty much overshadows Madison in all the tag matches though. They win the tag titles straight away, giving Madison her 4th TNA title. During this time, Madison also got made head of the Knockouts division by Karen Jarrett. It was only for a short time, but she got to work the mic a lot more. It mostly consisted of belittling the other TNA Knockouts, screaming at them, calling them skanks and whores. People often compare this period of Madison Rayne's career to the Vicky Guerrero "excuse me" thing. It is similar. It leads to a fun segment with Sting where he keeps screaming back at Madison and her reactions to it are great. She really is a pretty good sports entertainer, but just a bit of an awkward wrestler. He takes away her authority. Tension is teased with her best friend Gail Kim when her interference in Gail's matches starts to backfire. Madison also becomes the #1 contender to Gail's Knockouts title after tricking everyone and surprising them during a Battle Royal match. Before a title match with Gail can take place, we had to endure a comedy match where the tag belts are on the line against Eric Young and ODB. The match of course ends in wacky fashion, ending their tag title reign at 126 days, the third longest reign in the belt's history, and presumably building up to an epic pay-per-view match between Gail and Madison with half a year's backstory. Well, it probably is her best match with Gail, but it's still nothing you'd remember tomorrow. They're both heels too, so it isn't the best dynamic going. Gail retains, and Madison just goes back to being her best friend. She wasn't doing much at this point, but she was about to start the most epic storyline in wrestling history. The storyline was that Madison Rayne... Are you ready for this one? Madison Rayne has a secret admirer, right? And it's referee Earl Hebner. Despite Madison returning his affections, he was still allowed to referee all of her matches. TNA management must have been asleep during the Knockouts matches because she lost all of them, yet somehow Earl decided she won them. Apparently all of this making out was happening on live events too. They must have had to double her pay for that one. Despite not doing anything for 6 months, Madison was suddenly back in the title picture just because Earl Hebner kept giving her the win. None of this was helping with the match quality. So she gets another title shot, this time on pay-per-view against Brooke Tessmacher. She belongs in the TNA Hall of Fame. Anyway, Madison wins another match thanks to Earl Hebner, and completely out of the blue she's become the 4-time Knockouts champion. TNA finally wakes up with Hogan's dopey daughter in charge, and Hebner is banned from refereeing any more of Madison's matches, and she will need to give Brooke Tessmacher a title rematch. Hilariously, Brooke wins the title straight back just after a week after losing it, proving Madison to be a complete comedy champion. She mostly disappears off telly for the rest of 2012. She actually is gone for an entire year as she was having a kid. By the end of 2013, she had successfully hatched her egg with her first husband. They ended up divorcing 2 years later. Back in TNA land, it's 2014 and the Queen is back. Yay. You wouldn't know she'd been off having a kid as she's slimmer than ever. She must have been on the Atkins diet. She's now a good girl and she immediately beats Gail, earning herself a title match. The time off seems to have actually helped Madison, who's moving better than ever. But other than one nice pin in the match, not much to say. And once again, the Queen of TNA does it and she beats Gail to become a 5-time Knockouts champion. This leads them to have one of the tamest street fights of all time. It goes about 4 minutes. After just one successful title defense against who else but Gail, one title defense in 3 months. God, no wonder this woman isn't held in such high regard. I can admit she has improved slightly though, but anyway, she loses the title to Angelina Love. Wow, no wonder people think the Knockouts division went downhill. We're about 5 years on from the start of this video and it's all the same faces trying to do the same old tired acts. After losing the belt, a strange storyline started where new knockout Brittany was in love with Madison. The story was quickly dropped without explanation. Madison didn't swing that way, but the audience sure wished she did. She looked incredibly uncomfortable during this storyline. Not a lot else really happens for a while, but oh look, the beautiful people reform once again, except they are now supposed to be the edgy, badass beautiful people. They were never any of those things. Actually, this period kind of marks the end of Madison doing any character work at all. She was just plain old Madison Rayne now. Very boring. Ditching her character work didn't seem to help, as she never captured the world title again. In fact, she was more of a jobber to the stars. Around this time, Madison took a backstage creative role, but not only that, she was often doing commentary, becoming one of the first female wrestling commentators alongside her new husband Josh Matthews. Once again, she disappeared from TNA for a year, this time working some Ring of Honor matches and also having a WWE tryout and wrestling in the Mae Young Classic. When that went nowhere for her, Madison returned to TNA again in 2019. I wonder if every time she left and returned she thought, does this place keep shrinking or is it me? The final run comes in 2 parts, a generic babyface run and a tag team run. The matches were all a lot longer in 2019, so it's good to see how much her in-ring work had improved. Possibly her best showing came against Tessa Blanchard, where Madison demonstrated that she was still training to learn new moves. It's nothing incredible by today's standards, but it's perfectly acceptable. I stand by what I said though, nobody can pick out a specific Madison Rayne match and say yes, that was incredible. Somehow I feel that she gets cringier and cringier, but I think that's just the Hawk. Madison once again captured the tag titles with Emma the Alsatian during the last run with TNA, but this run was just really irritating. Madison Rayne as an influencer. Whatever you're selling, the Hawk ain't buying. Madison retired from TNA with a final match against Mia Yim in 2022. She was rewarded for all her hard work by becoming the head trainer of the AEW women. She would also still compete in AEW and ROH matches, wrestling around 25 times. I know what you're thinking. I'd rather chew on a brick. I can see that a lot of people's opinions on Madison Rayne have probably been shaped from her last run in TNA where she showed she was a far superior wrestler. But I'm sorry, it took such a long time to get anything close to average for the time. 10 years from when she debuted. She never took any big bumps, always looked a bit small and awkward. Her finisher sucked, and let's be honest, those 5 Knockouts title reigns, pretty much all of them were bad. She won them in weird ways, she lost them in weird ways, and hardly defended a title in any of her championship reigns. Across all of her combined reigns, she only managed to defend the belt successfully 9 times, so not a strong champion. Despite that, she ranks 5th in the all-time leaders board with a combined 404 days as champion. Madison Rayne had value in her character work, and I guess her looks? Perfect for any Vince Russo wrestling show. When she was in The Beautiful People, there wasn't really a focus on wrestling, but it took her so long to move on and grow from that. The fact she held the belt more than Tessa Blanchard, Tara, Rosemary, Awesome Kong and Velvet Sky is a bit crazy because all of those chicks would be seen as better than Madison in one way or another. Strangely, many TNA Knockouts dislike Madison Rayne, and rumours about Madison and Terry Taylor have never really gone away. And then of course she was with Josh Matthews, and together they held some sort of power within the company. I think Madison must have been a great politician because she always found herself in a favourable position. In Terry Taylor's no, I'm kidding. Madison is seen as a TNA legend, perhaps due to her longevity of the company and the fact that she wasn't just there for the good times. But the Hawk can now admit that Madison Rayne got better and had some decent matches. No great ones, mind you, but I'll take it. And if you don't agree with that, I'll tell your girl to shake it.